Hi everyone, this is your superpower kid, Neva Lee Recla. I'm so excited for today's interview. We are talking about fun entrepreneurship for kids. And I think this is really important in our lives because sometimes we forget to play in our businesses. And we go back to our regular lives and it's just meh, 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 when we have the chance to make our businesses super fun. And it's kind of our responsibility as kids to show adults to have fun and have that childlike nature in their businesses. And so my guest today, her name is Rylan Jade Kelly, and I'm so excited to talk with her. At the age of 6, she started a business called Jade's Journee, and she makes bows and accessories to inspire young girls to love themselves. I think that's pretty awesome. So without further ado, will you help me welcome our guest, Rylan Jade Kelly? Hi, Rylan.
Hi, Neva. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. This is a huge opportunity. I love your hair.
Thank you. I really like your bow.
Thanks.
So, what are your superpowers?
One of my superpowers I really like is that I have a creative mind. So I make a lot of crafts, and I'm also a good designer. So I like to sketch a lot too.
That's really cool. It is important to have that creative mind because sometimes people lose their creativity, and so they kind of just live a blank life.
Yeah.
But it's really cool because some people don't. They're too scared to be creative almost. And so that's really cool.
Thank you.
What inspired you to do business? Because some people just want to do it. Some people get inspired by a person. What inspired you?
Well, I was in school a lot on the weekends and stuff like that. So when I go to school almost every day, I got bullied, and sometimes my mom would tell me stuff to help me feel better, and I would say it at school, but sometimes I would forget. So that's kind of how we started our business. It was based on like bullying, and then my mission got even bigger and stuff.
That's really cool. Sometimes I find that going through hard experiences can help kind of open you up. And for me, at least, if I go through a hard time, it kind of helps me want to make it so some person doesn't have to go through the same thing. And so I want to do everything in my power to stop it. Who do you look up to in your business? Is there people who inspired you, kind of helped inspire you to do it, or do you just kind of want to do your own thing?
Well, one person that kind of inspired me to do it and that asked me the question if I want to start my business was my mom. And ever since then, I looked up to her. And my dad also has his own business, so I look up to him too.
That's really cool. When I was 2, I wanted my own business cards because my parents had them, and I was like, what is that? And I decided, you know what, I want some business cards.
Yeah.
And I finally got some, and then we realized I needed to start something like a business.
Yeah.
So I'm not just handing out a blank card.
Yeah, that happened to me. I wanted, my mom, my dad kind of had their own businesses at the time. So sometimes I felt like, oh my gosh, I want to talk about this stuff too. So I would try to pretend like I had my own business. So when I had my own, it was pretty exciting. And seeing my cards come to life, it was pretty cool. My dad designed them. So.
That's really cool. So what advice would you give to a kid who wanted to start business, but they weren't really sure how to, and they didn't really know what to do for a business?
I would say to find something that you really like to do and start doing it more often, and then that's almost like your business right there. For me, I like designing, so I started to sketch and started to design my own doll clothes, and now I make my own bows with my mom. So
that's really cool. That's kind of what I tell people. Find something you love. Don't just go off and do something because you feel like that's the only thing you can make a business out of.
Yeah.
You can do so many things. People make great ideas and turn them into great businesses out of something that they love.
Yeah, there's so many kids out there that have businesses, and they started fresh. Sometimes it started out rough, but they always kind of smoothed it out. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and starting a business can be intimidating at sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've gone through times in my life where I've had people tell me, like, I'm too young to start a business, or maybe I should do something a kid my age would be doing.
Yeah.
And I've had people ask me, well, don't you want to do something that a kid does?
Mm-hmm.
And I say, this is what a kid does.
Yeah,
this is what I want to do.
Yeah, you don't have to wait to start your own business like when you're 20 or 30. You can start your business at any age you really want. So even at a baby age, kind of your parents can make you do it. But I wouldn't wait until you grow up. I would do what you want to do.
Because by the time we're in our 20s, this is going to be so much easier for us.
Yeah, because we have so much experience with pitching and making them, so it's going to be a lot easier when you're vending and stuff like that.
Exactly. And I've met some really amazing kids who have done business, and we've talked about how it's kind of scary being, because I've been the only kid at business conferences and meetings before, and it's kind of weird just sitting there and everyone else around you is an adult.
Yeah.
So
sometimes it feels like, well, when they're talking about stuff you don't really know, it kind of feels uncomfortable asking them, what does that mean? Because like you're a business owner and you don't want to make yourself feel like, oh, well, I'm not smart and stuff. So, yeah.
Luckily, I have my parents sitting right next to me, so I'll just ask them what it means.
Yeah.
Have you ever had somebody tell you, who's an adult, tell you that maybe you should stop because you're a kid?
No, actually I haven't, and I'm surprised I haven't because I started my business at a really young age. So nobody really told me I couldn't have my own business, and it was fun at 6, but it was also kind of hard because you're 6 years old and your mom's helping you trying to make your buzz, or sometimes you don't understand what they're saying. And sometimes it gets confusing about what you're supposed to do and what you're not supposed to do and what you're not supposed to touch and stuff like that. So
yeah, exactly. Sometimes I feel like being the only kid, I feel like sometimes people kind of want to make me less than them because I'm a kid at a business conference. But then we have the same potential as they do. But just because we're a little shorter and a little younger doesn't mean that we can't do as much.
Yeah, I have 2 sisters, and I can tell you that it's a challenge having your own business while also having to take care of your sisters. So if you want a brother or sister, just say it's always going to be a challenge right there if you have your own business too.
Yeah. I have 2 older siblings. They're 22 and 18. And so I'm the baby of the family, and we don't necessarily have the same interests, but it's still fun.
Yeah, I'm actually the oldest in the kids part of my family. So sometimes it's annoying having my little sisters around, but I can tell you that your big sisters or your little sisters will always look up to you. So if you're having a problem, like you said, one of your sisters are 20, right?
My brother's 22 and then my sister is 18.
Okay, so your brother or your sister, they can actually help you with your business because they probably work for somebody. So if you have like a question to ask them, you can always ask your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, something like that. Yeah,
and it's kind of good knowing that I have someone older than me to teach me. So
yeah. My mom, on my mom's side, her mom actually has a lot of pets. She's a dog person more than a cat. She's more of a dog. And when her puppies or something has babies, she's always giving them away. So that's pretty much what she does. And she also works for somebody. So sometimes I like to ask her questions, but yeah.
So we actually need to take a quick break, but I'd love to keep talking with you. Can you tell our listeners where they can go to find out more about you?
You guys can go on Facebook at Jade's Journey, and you can go on Instagram and Etsy, and yeah.
Awesome. And definitely go check her out because she's such an inspirational young entrepreneur. So we've been talking with Rylan Jade Kelly about fun entrepreneurship for kids. We'll be right back.
Are you here to change the world? Do you talk about things like vibration, frequency, awakening, and consciousness? Are you pretty sure you have superpowers? The Superpower Net is unlike normal coaching programs and conscious communities. We provide training, intuitive guidance, peer-to-peer learning, intensive one-on-one coaching, and a high vibrational network of people just like you. When you join the net, you get 24/7 access to a collaborative group of people who support you as you master your personal power and unlock your superpowers. If you're ready to use your superpowers to change the world, then join the Superpower Net today. Visit superpowerexperts.com/thenet to learn more.
Okay, we're back and we've been talking with Rylan Jade Kelly about fun entrepreneurship for kids. So we actually get to do funny FaceTime. Are you ready?
Let's see. Okay.
We get to make our funniest faces in 3, 2, 1.
What?
That looks painful. Ow.
Yeah, that's painful? It's not painful. Hold on. Let's see.
Oh, God.
Oh, my gosh.
Mine too. So have you ever felt like, actually, what is one of the biggest challenges about being a business owner for you?
One of the biggest challenges about being a business owner, one of the biggest challenges is having to go places like when you're pitching. Like when you're pitching, that's one of the biggest challenges when you have your own business. Because when you practice, sometimes you get really, really nervous, and then sometimes you freeze up, and you can't come back through it. But I could tell you, I've already done 2 pitches this week. Not this week, but and one of them I accidentally forgot what I was about to say, so I was just really uncomfortable at that time because I'm like, oh my gosh, I might not win this. It's just so nerve wracking, and I don't want to disappoint none of my family. So when you're pitching, it's just go up there and have fun. Don't just think about, oh well, when I don't win, nobody will like me or something like that. Because even though you didn't win that pitch, you will always have other chances to redo it, or you can do new pitches and try that again. And when you pitch, you always got to know that just have fun, but also have your business related into it. So yeah.
I once spoke at a business conference that I've been going to, actually where I started my business, and I was so nervous for some reason because I find that the least amount of people in the crowds, it's easier to see people's faces, so I get even more nervous. But my microphone fell out of my pants that was attached to my shirt as the person was introducing me. And so that threw me off, and I was like, Mom, help. And so she came up and was fixing it, and I'm like, technical difficulties, and I handled that really well. Then I forgot what I was going to say.
Yeah.
And that entire script just blanked out. And 3 of my friends were sitting in the front row, which made it even harder for me because I was trying to be a good role model for them. And then my microphone fell. And so that threw me off. And then I blanked out on what I was going to say. And I had an excuse to run out because I was going to the teen program and I was going to go learn. And so I rushed out as fast as I could.
Yeah. That sounds pretty nervous. If that happened to me, I'd be like,
yeah.
no. let's not do this no more. Because, sometimes when something embarrassing happens to you, it's pretty hard when people are like, you did good and anything. But sometimes you feel inside like, I tried my best. I practiced almost the whole way there because I practiced. And like, when you practice so much of that pitch and you see somebody else wins it, it feels really bad. You feel really bad inside because you say you're going to win and you're going to win and you practice all the time, probably about to go to sleep. And then when time actually comes, you freeze up and then it happens. It's kind of scary going back. So.
Yeah. And one of my friends, he was trying to be super nice to me, but he says during my pitch, "You're doing great." I'm like, "No, I'm not. I'm messing up." But yeah, sometimes having people say you're doing well, especially when you're kind of, you and whoever you practice with are kind of the only people who know you're messing up. And which is kind of nice knowing because you're not practicing in front of that entire group. But he was being super nice to me, and I was like, "You don't know that I'm messing up. I'm doing real bad right now."
Yeah, that's something that you have to do. So when you mess up on your pitch or something like that, sometimes you don't want to let sometimes you don't want to let anybody know, because that's something I got from my feedback because I kind of let them know that I was messing up. So that's something I got from one of the judges that picked the other girl. So
yeah. And I find that just have fun, and that's what matters. But sometimes I find that if I lose something, even if it's
to come back,
especially being a kid entrepreneur, it's challenging enough because I feel like we have to work even harder. And I'm not taking this off of any other speakers because it is very hard to be a speaker. But I feel like we have to almost work twice as much to kind of redeem ourselves from last time we failed, or to get people to actually believe us.
Yeah, I was a speaker in Atlanta, Georgia for the Raising a Mogul thing. I forgot what it was called, but I was a speaker for it, and I can tell you we did something pretty big, and it was pretty fun, and we had a blast. But I was so nervous because we were just going up, and I was getting stumped because somebody was right there because I was walking around because we had to go wherever she went, I had to go. So but we were on opposite sides. So I bumped into somebody. I'm like, oh God, let me just go ahead and give this girl a hug because she was beside me. And I'm like, let me just go ahead. But by the time I turned around, she was on the stage. I'm like, oh God, let me just go ahead and run. And I almost tripped over the cord, which was pretty fun. Nobody noticed. At least nobody noticed. Nobody in the front noticed. But oh my God, that could happen.
Yeah. One of the hardest parts I find for me is sometimes parents talk badly about their kids behind their backs. And I feel like it almost brings me down more. Like, I feel like they're trying to lift me up, but it brings me down when these parents are supposed to be uplifting their kids. I have enough support. I'm great. I have great friends, and I'm happy to bring in more friends. But when I see someone talking badly about their kids, it makes me kind of want to stop. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes when we have meetings, me and my mom, my dad comes in and he'll talk, but I'm like, oh my God, well, I'm right here. Because it's like this is my business, so I can wait to have one moment where we can just talk about this without you in the way. But I've never really had, sometimes what kids have when they have their own businesses, it's kind of uncomfortable telling your parents what's wrong because, well, there's a business time and then there's parent time. So for me, I'm the boss of my mom when it's business time, but when business time is off, she's literally the boss of me. So I can tell you when it comes to our feelings, we are not very open about it. And sometimes it makes it hard because we're containing all that anger and we can't ever let it out because we sometimes can't say the words we want to say, or sometimes we act out, and then our parents are like, oh, well, you're acting out. Why you acting like that? Because we're trying to talk to you, but you don't get. Well, for me and my mom look alike, and I get that a lot. So when it comes to our feelings, we are not open. We are not open at all, and it happens because we have different personalities. She wants to change. She wants our relationship to get bigger. I want our relationship to get bigger, but I mean, sometimes it's hard because you're trying and you're really hard. You're trying to change, but when she says you're not changing at all, it just hurts you sometimes, and then it affects your business line, and then it starts to kind of like break down. So
Yeah, my parents and I came up with codes.
Mhm.
So if they're in a business meeting, if I say, so code red is for us, like, don't ask any questions. It's like an emergency situation. It's not a good time to ask questions right now. We will let you know when you can't. Code blue is my code to use with them, and they can use it with me. But it's if they're in a meeting and I need someone to talk to,
Mhm.
and one of them will step out and I'll talk to them.
Yeah.
Because I went through a situation where one of my friend's dad's business partner's daughter, that's a lot, was kind of bullying me. And so I ended up kind of leaving her. She actually threw me off with somebody else after we had gone to the pool. And I'd known that person, so luckily he brought me up to my parents. But I didn't know what to do because I wanted to talk to them, but I didn't want to interrupt their business meeting.
Mhm.
And so later that day, I was like, this happens.
Mhm.
And they said, oh, next time tell us. And so that's how we came up with Code Blue.
Yeah, because sometimes your parents don't want you to talk in a business meeting, but when it's urgent, you want to talk to them so badly, but they sometimes are in a business meeting. For me, my mom has 3 kids to handle, so when she's on a business call or something, we like, wait 1 minute, let me just talk to this real quick, because sometimes it gets irritating. Because sometimes my sister Nola, she's a toddler at this age now, turning 3 really soon. Sometimes we get in arguments, and it makes it hard for me to talk to my mom about how we should do this, because she's a baby in her family. So you guys have something similar. So sometimes it's hard for me to talk to her because she's in a business meeting, and she works from home sometimes. But I feel like it's easier for me to talk to her, and but it's still like hard because she's on a business call and I'm over here trying to talk to you about something. So sometimes it's hard to get everything out.
Yeah. And sometimes what I do is I have spirit guides. Do you know what those are?
No.
They're basically like these spirits,
Mhm.
kind of like dragons and stuff, who I can talk to and they're kind of like my protectors almost.
Mhm.
One of the dragons, his name is Ash. He's a huge black dragon. And I just call on him, say, please come and help me with this. And sometimes I feel bad for interrupting my parents' business meetings. And I've never needed to use Code Blue on them, but it's comforting knowing that it's there. Yeah. So what is something else you like doing besides doing business?
Something else I like doing is, crafting and playing around. But I like crafting more than anything. And crafting is just a way for me to have my me time and to chill down. Because I like reading, but this is not my passion. I love reading, but it's not something I would like to do every day, like an everyday life thing. So but crafting is one of the things I love to do. I like to watch my Froggy stuff. She's a really good crafter. She's on YouTube.
I love watching her.
Oh yeah, she's good. I love watching her crafts and everything. I tried doing her crafts. They weren't as good, but I feel like she has a lot of drama in her, at an adult age. So when I watch her craft, it's like I so enjoy this. I would not want to watch any other crafting thing. So she is really fun.
Mm-hmm. My dad and I started doing a Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them house from one of her videos, and so we're gonna finish that soon.
Yeah, that's it. That's fun. I think that Froggy is an inspiration for kids to start their own crafting thing, and she's a good person. She really is, and
one of the biggest compliments I can give somebody is, especially for an adult or like a young adult, is you're like a kid, because some people may take that to offense, like, oh, I'm like a 2-year-old. Yeah, but if I'm telling you like you're like a 2-year-old, I mean that as a huge compliment, because I'm a volunteer at our church for 2-year-olds, and they have no fear. They're just able to walk up to somebody and hug them.
Yeah, you would think. For my sister, how do I put this? She doesn't have fear in her. She is just straight out with it. So she will always ride the flow. But sometimes when somebody comes over and say, "Hey, you're so cute," she'll go up behind me, or she'll be like, whatever. So it's just she's cool. She's really outgoing with me because I'm her sister and something like that.
Yeah.
So
see, I still kind of do that. If I'm uncomfortable in the situation, I get to play the kid card for a second and just hide behind my parents. Because some kids, I notice, like to stare. I notice that's something kids do, is they stare at other kids. And it makes me really uncomfortable knowing that somebody's staring at me.
Yeah, it's at my school, at my old school actually, there were some kids that needed help, and people used to stare at them, and it was just like, why are you staring at them? Like they might look different, but they're just the same as us. So no matter what, because there was this one time I was in the girls' bathroom, and a kid that needed help, she pinched me. I'm like, well, let's not be rude or nothing, because I didn't want to tell anybody, because I knew she needed help. She wasn't really thinking really good. But I don't want to like tell her, no, don't do this, not like that, because I'm not her mom, not her sister, not her teacher. So I just told her, please don't do this anymore. I don't like that. And I've seen her a couple times, but I feel like they just don't know what's going on because of what's happening to them. So, yeah. I treat them. I try to treat them like they're just the same as us, because they are actually.
Yeah, that's the best thing you can do. Is like, the rule I play by is, if I want to be treated nicely, I treat others the same.
Yeah.
And I always go by that, and so I try my best to treat others with as much respect as I possibly can.
Yeah. At my school, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You can.
Okay. At my school, I have a lot of boys that bully me at that time, and sometimes it would get on my nerves so much, because there was this one boy named Josiah. It was almost the last day of school for us, and he kept messing with me. I told him to stop, and I kept telling him to stop, but he never stopped. So I was like, stop. Like, I gave him one more chance, because I don't like when I tell them to stop and they don't do it. It's just kind of irritating. So I'm like, okay, that's it. Okay, let's just go over there and tell a teacher. Because he kept messing with me with his foot, and it got on my nerves, because, well, first, he has shoes on, and it could have hurt me because you have stuff under your shoe. And second, because, well, he used to be really nice to me. We were like best friends at that time. But when he messes with me, I tell him to stop. He never really does that. So we play around just a little bit, but he doesn't know when we play, you can't just be kicking me with your shoe or nothing like that. So, it's pretty hard dealing with bullies at school, because sometimes they get you so mad where you just want to hit, and you just want to at them. So sometimes the best thing to do is just walk away and ignore them, or just tell a teacher with them. So
yeah,
sometimes
something my parents taught me is, escalation of force. So let's say somebody is like, I don't know, poking me and it gets annoying. And I tell them to stop. And let's say they don't stop. And I say, please stop. They don't stop. I say, I told you stop. To get to that point where they aren't stopping, I can try to walk away. If I can't walk away without them being annoying, like punching me or hurting me or something, that is when I get to step in and use my own type of force. And see, I like the idea of knowing self-defense, but I don't like the idea of actually hurting somebody.
Yeah, because sometimes what happens is it starts to get even bigger. It's not just them getting in trouble, it's you too. So that's what sometimes some parents don't understand is, well, if you're hurting them and they were hurting you, you can't like, that's what teachers do. There's this one boy, Jackson R, in my class, and whenever somebody messes with him or touches him, he likes to fight with them. And he got in trouble with it. But he's like, well, if somebody's going to touch me, I'm going to hit them back. Like, if somebody's going to hit me, I'm hitting back. And teachers don't get, well, that's just their self-defense, using that to, like, protect themselves from not getting hurt. So if you want somebody to mess with you, well, a lot of people don't want anybody to mess with them. Nobody in my class wants anybody to mess with them. So I would say, if you don't want anybody to mess with you, don't mess with them. Because I have a friend named Justin, okay? And he acts like he doesn't know me. I've known him for about like 2 years now. And it was just hard seeing him treat me like, what? I'm right here. I'm your friend. Like, we've known each other for 2 years. Like, what's going on? So it was kind of hard seeing him bullying me from now on. And it was just hard hearing him calling me names and stuff. And sometimes it was based on my skin color. I'm like, what? It's unfair. So, I just stopped like talking to him because he had problems, but I didn't like to get into it because I try to help him, but it always comes out of him like messing with me. So.
Yeah. And I've gone through that with a kind of like an acquaintance of mine, and he wasn't the nicest to me, and I just decided to take some initiative. And so I stopped talking to him. And it got up to the point where he just wasn't nice, and so I ended up blocking him. And that's sometimes the best thing you can do. Take space for yourself.
Yeah.
And something I go by is like, I'm not going to randomly go up and slap somebody. But what I am going to do is I'm going to tell them to stop.
Yeah. If that doesn't work, sometimes it's best to, react with your own force, like you were saying, because it's really hard when your best friend, let's say you have a best friend, right, and they're messing with you, they're calling your names and stuff. It's pretty hard to tell for you to do that. Because one time I was in class and I accidentally whipped my hair in front of this girl's face who was my best friend, and she started bullying me. And I'm like, I didn't mean to whip my hair in your face, but you didn't tell me, so I didn't know. So if you didn't tell me anything, I couldn't have known that what I did. So that's what some people like to do. They like to accuse you of doing stuff that you didn't know that you did. So.
And that's why I typically use the escalation of force, because if somebody like, let's say, slaps me and let's say I'm on I'm in a really packed room, I can't tell if that person was shoved into me or not. And so I would turn around and go like, hey, did you mean to do that? And then I can look for signs of them lying. Okay, if they lied and then they ended up doing it again, then I can use an escalation of force.
Yeah.
But turning around and kind of assuming that somebody purposely did something to you, I don't want to hurt somebody on purpose.
Yeah.
I don't like hurting people.
No, because I don't like hurting people either, because it feels like if I'm hurting people, I feel like if I keep doing it kind of makes me a bully at that time. And when I see a bully, I like to help them out, and because I have so much like experience with bullying, so I like to help them out because sometimes I know what they're going through. Sometimes the bullying starts with one whole person messing with them, but it always starts with somebody. So always be in line because like there's a whole lot of kids that skip school. I'm gonna give you just one number. I looked this up one time because I had to put it in my pitch, and this is how many kids skip school. And it's 160,000 kids skip school each day for fear of being bullied. 160,000. So, like, yeah, that's why, like, sometimes I like to help those bullies out because I don't want them to skip school because sometimes the bullies are the only ones that are going to get out of school. So the only thing that's going to happen is that the bullies, they're not going to have anybody else to bully but the other bullies.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And it's cool that you're trying to help out people because who knows what's going on behind the scenes. And that's all I try to give people as much benefit of the doubt as possible.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's hard giving people so much benefit of the doubt, even when they're doing something and you know that it's happening. And so I'm working on like, how do I give you enough benefit of the doubt so I can figure out what's going on, but not too much benefit of the doubt where I let you get away with slapping me.
Yeah. So like, there's something else so imagine that 1 in 3 kids, okay, it's 1 in 3 kids just means 1, 2, 3. So that last 3 is going to go into 160,000 kids that skip school. So what happens is with my friends, the friend I was talking to you about that then like I accidentally put my hair in her face. This happens almost every day. So I get really sick and tired of it happening. So I'm like, I don't want to end our friendship, but I don't want to be in a friendship where, well, I'm just the one who doesn't do anything. And I tell you to stop, but you continue. It's like I'm just your little puppet or something to you. Mm-hmm. So I tell her I don't like this and I don't like this. And then she gets so offensive. So if I'm hanging out with my other friend, Lacia, she'll get so offensive that I didn't join her. Or I didn't like tell her anything because there was this one time there's a bully. Do you remember the boy that I was talking about earlier? The girls always like messing with him. I don't know why, but they like messing with him a lot. So I like to try to help him out. But my friend Amira, because I'm just gonna say her name now, she gets offensive when like she called me one time. I'm like, I'm over here. I didn't hear you because you're way over here. And I'm over here. I can't hear you. So I came over there. I'm trying to make things right. But I feel like it's just, well, she doesn't want me. And I feel like sometimes she doesn't want me to be her friend anymore because of, well, sometimes I'm not treating her right. So like that. So I feel like I'm always there for her, but she's never there for me because like I can trust her with everything. But sometimes it's like a point where if I told her, well, I have this giant secret. Nobody knows, and I tell her, and if she told somebody else, you lose your trust in that person. So I've never told any of her secrets unless she really wanted me to. So
yeah, and I've gone through those times where I just put myself first, and even though it's not fun ending a relationship, I'm more worried about my mental health and how I feel in the situation than that person. That person can get their own support. I have my own support mechanisms. If it is not being in a relationship where somebody's not being nice to me, I will take myself out of the situation.
Yeah.
And it's never fun ending relationships. It's never fun ending friendships.
It's not even. I think the hardest thing about ending a relationship is when you end it, there's like you can always apologize, but you can never really go back. Because also when you go online, there's thing called cyberbullying. Me and my mom were looking up for research and stuff like that. And I forgot what it was called, but so many kids died because of what the other people said. So it was like, I don't want to see this, it's too uncomfortable. But a lot of it was boys, and it was so upsetting seeing that because it was just cyberbullying right up there, but they didn't know who was texting them. So it was just hard seeing that, well, that person got hurt because of you. So cyberbullying is something that we try to stop too, because it's just wrong. Because what if somebody said, let's say, since well, since your hair, I don't like your hairstyle. I do love your hairstyle, just for example. And they continue to say stuff about your about what you do, like you don't look crazy, you're not good at anything. And they were cyberilling you. Let's just say that, okay? What would you do? What would you do at that time? Would you go to your parent, or what would you do?
I would go to my parents and then I'd block the person. I've been going through this. I've been getting random robotic voices calling me, and I've gotten so used to this. But like a year ago, I would have been shaking because of it happening, and I would have felt like something's happening to me when I'm only getting a call saying, and they'll typically just say like, "Hey, we're coming to arrest you at this time." I'm like, "Yeah, okay, cool. You don't know my address. I'm not going to trust you," because my parents were both spies, and it's like a very automated voice.
Yeah.
And they're not even telling me that they know where I live.
Yeah.
They're just saying that they're going to come arrest me.
So sometimes people say stuff to make you uncomfortable, but really you got to think about, well, like, you don't know where I live, you don't know where I do. So when that happens, they'll know anything about you, except that they don't even know your name. So that's why it's really important to stop the bullying, and never, like, if you have your own business, don't try to like shove around like I'm at this age where I have my own business and you don't, so you just lame or something like that. So don't do that, because that will be like they'll make them hurt, and then it will make them do something that they don't want to do. And that's never what you want to do with a child. You don't want to do that, because they have their own life that they need to finish. And even sometimes teenagers, for me, teenagers, I used to have an aunt, okay? I used to go up to my dad's mom's house. And my aunt, as she was a teenager, she's an adult now. I think of her like a big sister. When she had friends over, I would always want to go in there and mess with her. But like sometimes she would call me names, so I feel like, oh, excuse me. So I like to mess with her a lot. So that's one of the things I enjoy doing with her. I like to mess with her. So sometimes teenagers they react in a way other people react to them, because teenagers, they feel like, well, I'm grown up now, so I can tell you what to do, and you gotta do stuff like that. And sometimes it turns out for them to be a bullying, and they don't like bullying, but sometimes it turns out that they become a bully just because of their age, because they think that they're like the best person in the world because of their age. Even at 13, some girls and boys actually, they bully little kids because they're so tall. They're taller than them. They get to do more stuff to them. So especially your big sisters, they bully you sometimes too. But the best thing to do is be like, even though you're tall, I can still be like, well, you can do more stuff than me, but I can still run faster than you. I can still do stuff a little bit more better than you. And, you guys sometimes got to be like, well, if you won't keep messing with me like this, I can't do this anymore. I can't be like this or this. So, especially when you're a big sister, I can tell you that when your sister that's 18, I can tell you that I'm pretty sure that she went through something with her brother before you were born. They probably had fights a lot, and I'm pretty sure you have fights with her sometimes too. But the best thing is to do is to like say, well, I'm sorry for what I did. I don't want to do this anymore. I want to tell you I'm sorry, and I won't invade your personal space anymore, and I'll help you out more.
Yeah. So. And that's the best thing to do with your siblings, because sometimes we get in fights. It's a part of life. But what I do always is I own it for my part. Is I go, okay, I admit it. I messed up. I was wrong. I apologize for getting offensive. And sometimes that just fixes it. And I sometimes really tap in. Did I do anything wrong? Yes? Okay, then I need to apologize. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can tell you that having your own business while dealing with bullying is not something you want to do, because when you're out there pitching, you think of all those negative words, and then sometimes it makes you nervous, like, never mind, I don't want to do this anymore. But you just completely freeze for the whole entire time that you're supposed to be pitching. And then when you get off stage, your parents going to be like, what's going on? What's going on? What's happened? You practiced a lot. What's going on? But they don't really, you don't want to tell anybody, because like it's kind of nerve wracking, because first somebody bullied you and it came out on stage, and then second, your parents don't know what's going on. Sometimes they threaten you not to say anything. So yeah.
And I've gone through times where I kind of think, well, am I supposed to be doing business at this young? And and I love it. And so I wouldn't even think, and typically it's not even an option. Like, I don't take no for an answer when it comes to quitting my business. If someone were to come up and say, hey, you can go on this great cruise ship only if you quit your business, and they were willing to like give me a bunch of things. I really want a pet pig. They were willing to give me a pig, and I'd go, no, I'm going to work up for my own money so I can buy my own pig.
Yeah.
And there's nothing probably I enjoy more than being of service to people. It's one of my favorite things to do. And volunteering for the little ones. I'm a part of the worship team, which means I sing and dance for them. I'm going in a couple of days to go sing and dance for them. And so just doing that even makes me feel better.
Yeah, I like to, me and my mimi from my mom's side, that's my mom's mom, we have girls' day. So all of our grandchildren that are girls, they would come over. And there was this one time where we went over, and one of my cousins came, and she didn't tell us that she was coming. So my cousin Chastity, she was just pissed off, like, what's going on? Why are you so upset? And she's like, well, she gave all her attention to me, like not to me, but she gave it to her. So she was kind of talking behind her back. I'm like, Chas, wait, you forgot I have a business that contains bullying. So I would say, like, just try to be like, maybe can we go somewhere? I want to go now, please, something like that. Try to like say, you can give her 5 more minutes, something like that, because sometimes that can affect the relationship you have with that person. So.
Yeah. And something I would definitely say is like, own up for your mistakes, but you don't have to sit there and let somebody bully you. That's never supposed to happen. You're not supposed to sit there and let somebody slap you. That's just a big no. And so I try my best to like feel into the situation. I'm great at doing that. I feel into the situation and say, am I comfortable here? Do I want to leave? Yes, I want to leave. Okay, I'm going to go and talk to my parents now. And I once had a lady that went to the same business conference as me. She would always pick me up and hug me. And I was like 6 at the time. And it made me really uncomfortable that this lady would come up behind me and pick me up. And I was like, whoa, who are you? And she wouldn't even tell me it was her. And so my mom and dad helped me get out of some situations. I once hid behind my mom's chair, and she couldn't see me. And the lady walked away. And then I was pretending to give my mom a massage, and it worked. And so something I find is having someone on your team always makes it better, always makes your life so much greater, just having that one friend who's always going to stand by your side. My best friend, her name is Alana. She wrote a book. She's also in business. She's 11 years old, and she would probably do anything for me. She's stood up for me when someone was being rude. and I would do the same exact thing for her.
Yeah.
And so having someone where you would risk your life for them to stay and do something they loved, and
That's a
knowing
big
that they would do the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
And my opinion is, like, I create kind of friend boundaries.
Yeah.
So I set my boundaries, and I want people to assume what my boundaries are. And so if they invade them, then I'll talk to them about it, or
Yeah.
I'll talk to somebody else about it. And just kind of, I set my rules. Like, if you're saying mean things to me, that's not a good friend. But if you're like always being nice to me, and I'm always being nice to you, and we never get in fights, really, that's like a best friend for me.
Yeah. It hit me when you were like, when you would risk your life for me. I have a cousin, and we're so tight. We know each other for like our whole entire lives because we're cousins. And I could always rely on her to talk because I FaceTimed her last night, and she's just so open minded. And even though we have our differences, we used to fight so much, but then in like 1 minute we make up and we be best friends all over. So I feel like I call her my sister because we have so much in common, and not just because we're girls, because we have like almost the same personality. So it's good to rely on her. So if something really bad happened or somebody really bullied me, she would be like the first one to be like, "Stop bullying my cousin. You ain't gonna mess like this, like this." Because there's this one time where my Mimi took us to the park, and this one boy kept bullying me and pushing me around. And my Chastity saw him, like, and she was like, "Boy, you better stop bullying my sister." It was just fun. I was like, "Thank you." I whispered, "Thank you," in her ear, and she was like, "Come on, Rara, let's go." And it was just like, wow. I knew she would do anything for me at that time. So she's been my sister since we first met. So
yeah. And that's what I do when it comes to my family members. If someone is being rude to them, I will be ready to go down to the boxing ring with them and be ready to take them down. When it comes to my dog, I remember this one time. I was sitting on the swings with this boy, and we were playing. Everything was fine. My dog is a toy schnauzer. She's only 7 pounds, and she had teeth at the time. She got pancreatitis, so she doesn't have any teeth. She can still eat fine. And this kid had his like really newborn puppy there, and my dog being a dog, she wanted to play. And he said, "If your dog would hit my dog, I would just hit him. And I said, "Nobody hits my dog ever." And he went, I didn't mean that. I'm like, yeah, you don't slap my dog. So I'm very much like that when it comes to my family members. If any of my family members are like, "Hey, this person's being mean to me," I'll say, "Point them out for me. I will glare at them for you." And so I'm very protective of my family, but it's good having people you know would do the same for you.
Yeah.
So we actually get to do something called Super Neva questions before we wrap up. And basically, I'm going to ask you questions as fast as I can, and you're going to answer them as fast as you can. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. What's your favorite color?
My favorite color, pink, blue, and purple, yeah.
Ooh. What's your favorite animal?
Cheetah.
If you could have any superpower in the world, what would it be?
It will be flying.
Ooh. If you could be a fairy or an elf, what would you be?
Fairy.
Pet dragon or pet unicorn?
Unicorn.
If you could travel anywhere in the world, where would you travel?
Africa.
Ooh. If you could be any superhero in the world, who would you be?
Batgirl.
Ooh, that's a good answer. If you could be any inanimate object, what would you be?
Butterfly.
Ooh. If you could say one thing to somebody, if you could say one thing to a famous person, who would it be and what would you say?
It would be Ooh, okay. It'll be Sky Jackson, and I love your acting skills.
Oh, that's cool. She's a really good actress. If you could be any mythical creature in the world, what would you be?
Mermaid.
Ooh, I would be a mermaid too. If you could have any pet in the world, whether it be exotic, and it could be something from a rainforest, and you could have it, and it wouldn't be wild, what would you have?
I would do tiger.
Ooh, I would probably want a tiger too. I'd probably want all the animals possible. I'll just make a home and designate it for my animals.
Well, just so you know, I help feed them, but I'm not getting close to them. You can do that.
If you could eat any food for the rest of your life, and only that food, like let's say a 3-course meal for the rest of your life, and only that, what would you eat?
Okay, so I'm vegan, and I would say what's it called? It's the crispy chicken. It's like a vegan crispy chicken. It's really good.
That sounds good. I'd probably do that too. If you could be invisible or invincible, what would you be?
Invisible.
I would definitely be invincible. Like, I could do anything and wouldn't get hurt. That would be awesome.
Yeah. If you were invisible, nobody could really see you, so you wouldn't get hurt either way. So.
True. Unless, still, sometimes I do accidentally run into walls. My friend has this bathroom, and it's in a corner, so you have to turn. And I forgot to turn on the light in the hallway, and so I crushed into the wall, and I went,
oh my God, that must have left a mark.
It sucked.
That's a left a mark. Just probably not a big mark, but not too small either.
Yeah, it definitely hurt. Yeah. If you could have cats or dogs?
Cat.
Ooh,
I mean,
I have to go with dog.
I can't choose. I guess I say both. Yeah, I can't choose that.
Yeah, I really like both, but I'm allergic to cats. So is my dad, and so is my mom, and practically everyone in my family is. Wow. So that's not fun.
Yeah, I would do both.
Yeah. I love cats, but I do sometimes get allergic reactions. So,
yeah.
If you could be inside for the rest of your life and like the best Wi-Fi in the world, or be outside and you could only use a solar panel for the rest of your life in like a tree house, but it would still have air conditioning because in Arizona we can melt.
Say it again one more time. Because I was
inside in like a house with the best Wi-Fi ever, or outside in a tree house with air conditioning and basically just outdoors, but a house.
Okay, so like an outdoors house.
Like a tree house.
Like a tree house? You want me to choose one?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I love the internet, but I also like going outside and playing. So I would have to say a tree house. Yeah.
Me too. I would just make a solar panel and get all the Wi-Fi as I could so I could still do interviews and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you have any last words before we wrap up?
No, I do not.
Okay.
Oh, but also thank you for having me. This is a really big opportunity for our business.
Thank you so much. I enjoyed it. But will you join me in the sign-off?
I will. Yes.
Awesome. And also, will you remind our guests where they can go to find out more about you?
Okay, so you can find me at jadejournee.com. Oh gosh. Okay, hold up. All right, Facebook, Instagram, and Etsy. Yes.
Awesome. And again, definitely go check her out because she's so inspirational and she's doing a lot of amazing things. So, will you join me in the sign-off?
Yes, I will.
Awesome. Remember, kids, we all have superpowers and we can change the world. Awesome. Thank you so much, Rylan.
Thank you. Bye.